Unidentified flying objects. UFOs and flying saucers classified secret. We know this has been going on for years and years and years and years, and practically every single president has been involved with UFOs, the disclosure and all of that kind of stuff, trying to get hearings on it, but no one is really even successful at this point. It's like, hello, Apple Brooks, honey. Hello, Mariana. Hello. Thank you for those 100s and hearts flying up the screen. Yeah, thank you. Let's read this one little snippet right here. Let me do this and get myself, shrink me down. Shrink me down. Can y'all see that? Can you hear me? Unidentified flying object. This was January of 1967. I probably can't read it like that. Advised that he desired to report that he had observed a large oblong, oh, now we got an oblong shaped object with, no, see, I gotta find the original. I can't read it like that. Let me do this right here. Let me turn this further. Hello, no, I don't want fan funding. I don't even know what fan funding is. I don't want it. I want to do right here. Now we come over here to you all, right here. So an unidentified flying object, alleged sighting. We can see the timestamp on it. And of course, they've knocked out somebody's name. Advised that he desired to report that he observed a large oblong-shaped object which alighted in the street in front of him. It was all alight. It was a bright light, kind of like the, I don't know, it looked like a big glowing thing in the sky, oblong shape. He was on his way home from his television repair shop in Chesapeake, Virginia. He believes that he was taken. Oh, this is really good. He believes that he was taken into this craft, which he recalls as being made of a glass-like substance. That is really interesting. And being transparent. Wow, I have not heard of that before. A transparent glass-like structure. It was manned by several individuals who appeared to be undersized creatures similar to members of the human race, probably not more than 4 feet tall. They were allegedly wearing regular trouser pants and t-shirts. He believes that he was transported by this craft to an undetermined distance and then returned to his point of takeoff approximately 1 hour later. Have you heard of that before? A transparent oblong-shaped object that was glowing. It was glass-like, and it had undersized creatures that looked like maybe human race, who were no more than 4 feet tall, with trouser pants and t-shirts on. That is wild. That is so wild. I wonder if we can find a large transparent oblong object. Transparent UFO object. I'm going to see if we can find something on that. The only thing they got is a transparent image right here. No, this ain't describing any of these at all. They haven't got those ones out of here. Okay, so there's something going on to this. That's the normal type of UFOs right there. All of these types that they want us to know about. I don't see no oblong UFOs at all. Okay, so that's fine. That's fine. We can look at it. Okay, they spoke in a coherent manner, although he appeared to be under certain emotional strain. Maybe the guy spoke in a coherent manner and was under emotional strain. He claimed that he had not been drinking any intoxicants, but he was unable to account from the time from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Oh, wow, that is a really long time. He stated that he was telephoning from his workshop, but he had no recollection of being elsewhere between the hours of 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. The above was being furnished for your information. Furnished information tonight, Supervisor S.A. Special Investigations. The Bureau indices do not disclose any information. FBI, property of the FBI, flying saucers. This one's over Colorado. I wonder to see if there was anything above that right there that even it was top secret. It was secret. No information located about Mexico. Secret. Your name. Secret. San Antonio. Okay, there's flying saucers all over the place, you all. There really is. Let's scroll up through here, because that was an oblong object that was transparent. It was clear, and he was transported up there with beings that had trousers on. They were no more than 4 feet tall. They kind of looked human-like, and they had a t-shirt on. And they took him somewhere, and he had no recollection from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Okay, look at this. Look at this one. Euclid something, Boulder, Colorado. Head of a governmental finance scientific study of unidentified flying objects. Today, they had received a letter telling them where a flying saucer would land on Earth. Well, how would they know? Okay, the professor of physics at the University of Colorado said he would something to the man and ask him on what basis he made the prediction. He gave me the exact date and the exact location the saucer would land, and said it would be manned by persons from another planet. Another planet, you all. So they've been in communication with beings from other planets for quite some time. He suggested that we contact the space travelers and make friends with them, and the University of Colorado professor said he would not disclose the name of the person who wrote the letter or say where the predicted landing would take place of the date. He did say that it would be sometime that spring. So they're going to answer the letter to try to find out what was the basis, what is the facts or something for the man's prediction. They disclosed that the doctor, the deputy director of the Flying Objects Investigation Project, was in Joplin, North Carolina, or Pittsburgh or Kansas area, checking out reports of UFO sightings. So that's in 1967. This stuff has been going on for a long time. Look, dear whoever, I have received your letter on the 20th. Although I would like to be assistance, matters pertaining to the unidentified flying objects are not within my jurisdiction of the FBI. Inasmuch as your communication is of interest to another governmental agency, I'm referring a copy of it to the Director of Special Investigation, the Inspector General Department of the Air Force. So we know that nothing got done with a lot of this stuff, you all. Nothing. If you're just tuning in, this is some of the files from the Black Vault with the FBI and other things. Look, we got J. Edgar Hoover, Washington, D.C. Somebody wrote him a letter. I'm doing my science fair project on UFOs, and could you please send me any and all information? Of course, they're not going to send you any and all information. You can't just get that. I would appreciate my information, any information you may have as to how many plans, how many whatever we have lost chasing these UFOs. How many planes did they lose chasing UFOs? Did they get shot down? Why has this information been kept secret? Why is it unreported to national whatever? Also, will you happen to know if any other country besides ourselves have spotted UFOs? This is in 1966. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow, you can still see some more of this stuff. This is Washington, D.C. Look, Edgar Hoover right there. All of this. Gina, honey, we can't see nothing because you got it pointed to yourself. I'm sorry, I feel kind of embarrassed. I really do feel kind of embarrassed. Let me go back here in case you didn't see it. Edgar Hoover. Mr. J. Edgar Hoover. This person was writing that. That is not nice to do that to you all. It is not. You can see this, your letter. They're not going to tell nobody anything. Let me get down here. Look, I mentioned the above so that you will not think that an idiot is writing. You seemingly do not know or utterly disregard the following subject. I had hoped that you might make a statement before now on this subject. I have waited many years to see your opinion in print, but nothing of the sort has happened. I am speaking of the UFOs or unidentified flying objects before long, and it is a matter of time that you are going to be scooped, so to speak, on this subject. Sir, I happen to know that they exist. I have personally seen 2 of them. One of these sightings under a low cloud cover in daylight. So the seeing the flying saucers under the low cloud cover in the daylight time is what they're seeing. If you're just tuning in, this is some of the documentation that they just, they didn't even listen to. One of these sightings, okay, I'm not sure as to the cloud height. The other at perhaps 2,000 feet altitude and approximately 1 mile off. You may not be interested, but I think that this may be vital to the security of the United States. And if it is vital, I am sure that you are now familiar with and are working on this problem. And if I am correct, and these things do land, I am greatly concerned as to what kind of reception they might receive from the inhabitants of this country. I am convinced, after a great deal of thought, that someone of your standing in this country should let the people know that this is happening as regard to these things. If this is out of your whatever duty, I am sorry. So you all look. It's at this point, it doesn't even do no good to write anybody on anything, because this is where your letter is going to be end up. It's just going to be filed away if you're lucky. If you're lucky, you'll get to somebody way in the future like us reading it. They didn't even take it seriously. None of it seriously at all. Here was let me see. Look, none of it. Buffalo. There was one. There was another one that was talked about, a flying object. Look, they burnt fire. Look, since receiving your letter, which was placed in my records, many of our records, including your letter, were destroyed recently in a fire. People's records got destroyed in a fire. Wow. J. Edgar Hoover, dear sir, about 2 years ago I wrote to you and asked you, the best of my recollection, why your agents of your bureau investigated reported landings, whether the data rendering their findings was available. And you replied saying the agents investigated these cases to determine whether any federal law had been broken and that their findings were confidential. Since receiving your letter, which I placed in my records, many of this guy's records, including his letter, were destroyed. They destroyed his records in a fire at his home. And he would be grateful for the purposes of my new records to confirm your letter from 64 to 65, if the situation is still the same. They burnt his stuff up, you all, in a fire at his home. Wow. We got more right here. A lot more. There was one. I want to get down here to the one where they said that they, these flying saucers, okay, they gave off heat that could burn, and I'm trying to get to it. I'm trying to find which one it was. If we can find them. I mean, you can see these right here. Let me put the FBI Vault thing here in the live stream so you can see it. You can go back and you can look at it for your own reference. This is the link to it right there. The documents of them. I wanted to, of course, we know we've got that. Oh, we got some reports. Let's see this. Some of these objects. Look at this. This book describes UFOs as polished metal objects, radiating heat and light, sufficient to have burned witnesses who were near. Oh, that sounds like the people in Russia. Remember, the UFO or something landed and the whole area got burnt. These people got burnt up. by the UFO or something, the radiation or something from it burnt them up. So this radiating heat and light sufficient to have burned witnesses who were too near emitted some force field that interferes with electromagnetic instruments and power sources. The colors range from brilliant white to dull reds and brilliant orange. Some objects have carried blinking lights. There are 3 basic shapes: Zeppelin-shaped ships up to 300 feet long. What is a Zeppelin-shaped ship? Zeppelin-shaped UFO. What is a Zeppelin? I don't even know what that would look like. It looks like a blimp. It looks like a blimp-like thing. Okay, I've seen these. These are the cylinder ones, but that doesn't look like a Zippler. They say it changes their shape. What is this? Is a Zeppelin right there. How could they say that that was a UFO right there? So this Zeppelin, up to 300 feet long, there's disc-shaped objects ranging a few feet in diameter to more than 100 feet, which many reported about 30 feet diameter, egg-shaped objects. We got egg-shaped UFOs up there in the sky. Okay, there's this book say they move silently and they attain fantastic speeds and can hover motionless in midair. How come all of this documentation of UFOs and stuff is out there and the mouths of the people are shut, zip tight? They don't mention any of it. Have they been threatened with their very existence if they dare open their mouth? Because let's think about it. They can make all of this information public and the people can go out there and read it if they want. But to put this out there in the open, to have all the people hear about it on the news, I'm sure that is prohibited, completely prohibited. These ones have land and they take off with great speed, usually a burst of light from the underside, which in some cases have left the ground beneath them scorched. Many of the people named in the book, this book right here, and a number of photographs of objects have been reproduced in the book, some reportedly taken by reputable persons, and they said the sightings are from atomic and missile research areas. So are they making things like this in atomic and missile research areas? Are they also doing UFOs? Are they noticing these UFOs taking off in those areas? Now, this is one right here. If you're just tuning in, these are some of the FBI reports. Reports from people from all around the world, really, more or less. Records of crash saucers have been reportedly recovered on at least 3 occasions, and one case described as magnesium alloy, in another as pure magnesium, and in a third case attributed to an official of the Canadian government. The material was described as an exceptionally hard, unknown metal, actually a matrix of magnesium orthosilicate, which contained thousands of 15-micron metal spheres throughout, and showing the evidence of micrometeorites on its surface. Let's see what this looked like. Metal spheres, 15-micron metal spheres. What would that look like? We know what it might look like, but it'd be good to see what it looks like. Whoa! Wow! You see that? We just saw these spheres on the earth. Remember they were talking about the spheres that were washing up? They found spheres laying all over the place? Is that what they said? Let's see what they said. A matrix, some of these ships, just an exceptionally hard unknown metal, actually a matrix of magnesium orthosilicate, which contained thousands of these metal spheres throughout it. It showed the evidence of micrometeorites on its surface. What's a micrometeorite? Let's look that up too. Let's push this over here, a micrometeorite. Wow. This is like, it's kind of wild. Micrometeorite. Thousands of cosmic dust. Micrometeorite. Spheres all over a UFO. Wow. Oh my. A few witnesses have reported seeing crewmen who had landed from the objects, who are described as 3.5 to 4 feet tall, wearing what appears to be space suits and helmets. Now, who would they be? Would they be human? 3.5 to 4 feet tall. Author Edwards concludes that the book with a prediction that in the near future, UFOs will make an overt landing or deliberate contact with Earth. In the near future, and when was this happening? What was the date on this in the near future, if we could see it? 66. Okay, well, they're way far off, you all. If this happened, we ain't seen it. We have not seen it. A copy of the letter is being directed to Denver, Colorado. It's being called to the Bureau's attention in view of the report mounting pressure for a civilian-controlled investigative agency. It doesn't matter. Now we know it doesn't matter who's in charge of the UFOs stuff. This has been since 1966 and then some. They're not letting the information get out. Focus on the UFOs. Let's see this. Winking, blinking, and nodding red lights over Pasadena, blue lights over Greensboro, silver cigars over Detroit. People kept seeing strange flying objects, and officials kept saying nothing was out there. But in recent years, and particularly since the last summer, the pressure has been mounting for either a full-scale congressional investigation or for the establishment of an independent civilian-controlled investigation. Well, we've already had a congressional investigation, and it's what's become of it. Has anything become of the congressional investigation that has taken place? Probably not. Probably not. It had been a big year for flying objects. The sighting came in bunches, so the bulk of them last spring and summer. The reports came from all over. Look at this. They look like neon lamps. Among the most intriguing items in this year's crop, let's see, Milan, Michigan, 15 miles south of Ann Arbor, bluish yellow bars of light were spotted looking like neon lamps dangling in the sky. In East Delhi, Michigan, a 15-year-old boy called in reporting lights in the sky alternately standing still and moving, sometimes flashing on and off. In Aladina and San Marino, California, police switchboards logged dozens of calls after a pair of red lights in the sky were reported by residents. In Toledo, at the local airport, 7 calls from people said they saw a glowing object that was red, green, and white. In suburban Detroit, a man saw a noiseless, wingless, cigar-shaped flying object. In Bryan, Texas, residents said they heard a star-like object purr. How could you have a star-like object purring? Well, it sounds like a cat. Can they purr, you all? A star-like object? Over Valdez, North Carolina, a glowing blue thing exploded, then lit up the town like a giant flashbulb. Sometimes the alleged sightings spilled over into bizarre. A spaceship full of little men allegedly landed near Hopkinsville, Kentucky. The little men glowed. and they were described as 3 feet tall with eyes like saucers and hands like claws. You think they were the Greys? A grain buyer in Nebraska said he was invited into a spaceship where he chatted with 4 men and 2 women. They spoke only broken English but fluent High German, which, as it happened, was the grain buyer's native tongue, in a spaceship. You think that's what Hitler did? He took those people and he did his little thing, and they fly the flying saucers? They could. Linda, honey, that's okay. You can be late. A silvery cigar. Nor did America have any corner of the UFO market. In Northern Ireland, Tom Hutchinson saw a saucer drop into a peat bog near his home in Moneymore. It was egg-shaped, 3 feet in diameter. So, United States didn't have any? They didn't have a corner on the UFO market? Is that what they're saying? This is very interesting. It really is. There was something. What was 18 inches tall? A saucer watcher said something was 18 inches tall. It began to spin, and Hutchinson grabbed it. He was carrying it to the police, who described him as a level-headed, God-fearing person, when the thing twisted out of his hand and got away. That sounds like a drone. That sounds like a drone. If he had it in his hand and he caught it, and then it was able to twist out of his hand and it got away, it does. It sounds like a drone back then. In Warminster, England, a city council worker said he saw a silvery cigar shape drifting over the village downs, and after a time he said it seemed to stretch. Then it seemed to divide amidships with a flash of orange light, although there was no noise. So it divided itself. It stretched itself, and it divided itself into littler ships. Well, I know what that looks like. It's those staggered things. They can make themselves really long, and then they could just like break off into little pieces. They can add to a flaming object. This is, if you're just tuning in, we're just reading some FBI vault stuff, because there's so much documentation out there, and they're not going to say everything, even though they have all of this, and they're trying to find some information out there in today's day and age, as if there's no information to go with. Okay, that's fine. Not all of the sightings could be easily written off as the phantasmagoria of kooks, cranks, and drunks. And unless one subscribed to a theory of mass hallucination, it was difficult to explain away simultaneous sightings confirmed by many rational witnesses, such as a flaming object that was seen last April by thousands on the East Coast from Washington to Boston, and even temporarily disrupted a ball game between the Chicago White Sox and the Washington Senators in Washington, D.C. We should look at that. A flaming object. Let's see if we can find that. Let's do that. Let's see if that's going to pull up that story of a flaming object. We might be able to do it if I come over here to this and type it in. Paste. Of course we found it. They have updated it. They had to evacuate the people. Oh no, that's the wildfires. I wanted to see flaming. Oh, this is like a flaming object. This thing literally, did it. Flaming object, East Coast. Flaming object in the sky. Let me see if I can type it in. Flaming object. East Coast, what was it called? Washington to Boston. Washington to Boston. There we go. We got it. A flaming rocket debris. Kokomo. It has to be Kokomo, Indiana. Look, fireballs, they said. Let's see what it was. Oh, well, this just now started too. Right here. I wonder what this is. Let's see this. They called this a flaming rocket debris, a scene from northern Oregon. No, I don't want to see that because it's going to have stuff on it. Is what it's going to have. Mysterious lights in Seattle. Okay, I don't want to do that because I have no idea what this is going to show. They don't want people to see it regardless. I don't think they do. No, see, they've already erased it. They've erased it from the system. That's okay. Or the incident in Hillsdale, Michigan last March, in which a civil defense director or an assistant dean in 87 reported that they had seen a glowing object zip past their college dormitory and hover in a swamp for hours. In a swamp. The witnesses said that they watched from the second floor of the Hillsdale College girls' dormitory as the object wobbled. It wavered. It glowed eerily, and it once zipped right at a dormitory window before stopping suddenly. There's all kinds of things, you all. It just keeps going on and on. We might be able to finish this, and I'm getting tired. Okay, 11,000 sightings since 47, and this is back in 66. They had some explanations, but the mysterious flaming object in the east was probably a meteor, they said. Okay. All right. And then they said it was college boys playing pranks on people in Hillsdale. They have dismissed everything, checked out by the Air Force, and it was a special quad. It's in Project Blue Book. Okay, they made that one up. Aerial Phenomenon Committee. There's been nothing, no logical developments of principles, nothing. Look, whether or not there was so, the Air Force last week took definite steps to make itself feel better. Fed up with investigating reports of glowing, flying, zooming, winking, and awesome blinking streak and hovering things, the Air Force last week decided to bail itself out of all responsibilities for future conclusions concerning the UFOs. Look at that. They didn't want to have anything to do with it, you all. And they really don't want anything to do with stuff like this today. Nobody wants to touch it. They don't. In order for nobody to want to touch it, you know somebody's life's probably gotten threatened. Really, because the information that would come out would be pretty wild. Pretty wild is what it would be if they would turn it out. It would destabilize the whole entire earth. Because then they would have to say, well, we're not really in control of Earth. There's a certain species or group of species that are literally in control of this Earth that we live on. And I guess they love their life more than to open their mouth and lose their life, really, and their families and their loved ones and everything else. But there's going to come a day when they can't hide it anymore because these beings, these occupants of these flying saucers that are not good, they're going to come out and they're not going to be quiet anymore. They're not. And then I wonder if the armies of the world will try to fight them. I really wonder if they will try to join together and fight the UFOs or something, or these beings. There's no telling. There really isn't. But we know that there's flying saucers out there, UFOs out there, and there's little men around 4 feet tall with trousers and T-shirts. Trousers and T-shirts. I've never heard of that. And there's a transparent, glass-like oblong UFO that you can see through it, but it glowed. And this guy was taken aboard of it. And he had no memory from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. being on board this oblong object. So something definitely is still taking place, and you're not getting you ain't even making steps. They like to get some information out to feed the people a little bit, give them what they want. But will you fully get a disclosure? Or is it going to happen like the movies, where the aliens come down and then that's all she wrote? You have to fend for yourself. That could happen. It very well could happen. So I am going to go. And with that being said, scoot that over, Gina, honey, or you shrink yourself down. With that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, you all. Thank you so much for watching. And there's millions and millions of documents out there, sightings that they have, and they're not going to really do nothing about it. It doesn't seem. Nothing. For some strange, unknown reason. Really, think about it. Because their way of life would be no more. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, everyone. Love you.